How often do you find yourself talking to other people? Are you talking to them in person? Or are you talking to them online? I personally find myself spending a lot of my time talking to my friends online using apps such as Instagram or Discord. A lot of people would like to lead you to believe that technology is helping make people more isolated than they've ever been before. But I'm here to say that technology is actually helping people be more connected than they ever have been before, thanks to the fact that you can easily make friends, you can grow stronger bonds with people you might already consider friends, and in-person communication really hasn't been that affected. First up, it's an easy way to make friends. 57% of teens have been able to make friends online, as shown in a Pew Research study. That's a majority of teens who are going out there and making new friends. In that same study, it was shown that 29% of that 57% were able to make 5 or more friends. That's not a small amount of people that these teens are being able to communicate with and form new bonds with. Just because a person might be behind a computer screen doesn't make them any less of a person. You can still form bonds with these people and talk to them. Not to mention, when you're online, you usually find people who like the same things as you. You might have connected over that show you watched that one time, or a common hobby that the two of you might have. It's not that hard to connect with other people, and just because you can't sit down and see them like in person doesn't make them any less of a person to talk to. And so therefore you're still socializing with others. And this ties into the next point, which is it can help you form stronger bonds with other people. Like I said, you can talk to these people, and just because you can't see them face to face, you're still talking. You could record yourself and get on like Skype, Discord, or Zoom if you needed to, and you can still see the person and talk to them, and it can help you facilitate people you already know in real life. Like, I had this friend who I was really close to, but she had to move away down into the city, so we were far away and we couldn't see each other in person. But it's been like 5 years and we still keep up, and she's still one of my best friends because of technology. I've not become any more isolated because she had to move. If anything, our friendship grew. Technology is a way for you to talk to people you might not have been able to talk to before, and it can help facilitate these friendships you have. And finally, I'd like to say that in-person communication has not been as effective as you think it would. The main argument against technology is the fact that people are staying inside more and they aren't going out and talking to people, but research shows otherwise. In a study by Jeffrey A. Hall, he took a group of a few hundred people and he had them either abstain from social media or use it as much as they used to. And the study showed that their in-person communication didn't really change in between the two instances. The only thing that changed is that when people had social media, they didn't want to do their mundane tasks, which who wants to do the mundane tasks? Who's like, yeah, I want to go do the laundry right now instead of talking to other people. Does that sound reasonable to you? Like, if social media isn't having people, adults, talk to people less, then how are they getting more isolated? Also, in a study by Gene Twenge, at an individual level, teens are also not seeing a decrease at in-person communication. In fact, they're actually having a positive correlation, which the more social media they're using, the higher up their in-person communication is going. At a whole level, teens are seeing a relative negative correlation between the two of them, but at that personal level, they are seeing an increase in in-person communication. This is teens going out and talking to more people. How can you be isolated if your in-person communication with people hasn't changed? Also, it's possible that any decrease that teens might be having in in-person communication could be tied to parent restrictions. In a study shown by Dana Boyd, parents are restricting their children and therefore they have to go inside, and what do they do but turn to social media more, which would increase the social media usage. And therefore technology might not necessarily be the fault for why kids aren't talking to people more. In conclusion, technology is actually a pretty good way for people to form friends and keep strengthening those bonds that they either form or had before technology, and in-person communication hasn't really been affected. It needs to be recognized as a good way for people to communicate. Just because others are behind screens does not mean you're not communicating with them. People are still socializing. They aren't isolated from the population. If anything, they're more connected because they're forming more and more friends. You need to consider that there might be some negative factors to technology, but also that they might be conflicting with other things, such as parents not letting their kids go out as much and talk to real people. I suggest that you think about technology a little bit more and consider whether or not it's truly harming your connections with other people, and spend some time maybe trying to connect closer with some people that you couldn't before thanks to technology.